Northern Kenya has the making of all the challenges: harsh weather, poor infrastructural development, high illiteracy level, escalating poverty, and bearing the biggest brunt of all these challenges are people with disabilities in Northern Kenya. Northern Kenya, the most marginalized and underdeveloped part of Kenya. It's nearly 2/3 of Kenya, right from Turkana, Samburu, Marsabit, Isiolo, Garissa, Wajir, up to Mandera.
Persons with disabilities in the nomadic areas face serious challenges as compared to us persons with disabilities in other counties, because they have unique problem, particularly because of their way of life. Nomadic people keep moving from one place to another, and it is very difficult for them sometimes to move with the persons with disabilities.
Communities in Northern Kenya, or their understanding of disability, or someone with disability, either as a curse or as a punishment, and therefore as a burden, and has no value. In nomadic communities, children are labor assets. That if you have a lot of camels, if you have a lot of goats, you must have a child to look after that. So a child with disability, it becomes now an extra burden to this family. In some communities, they even go extra bold of killing that person, especially children with disability. In many circumstances, we have seen even mothers being divorced for having a child with disability.
So these things which we are talking about are not theories. They are realities which were with us and are still with us. Those of us who have now experienced these problems and who now feel that they have opportunities to use whatever capacities they are left with to preach peace.
People with disabilities from these areas came together and said, how can we create a forum or an organization through which we can raise their platform and raise their voice and create advocacy around all things that is happening in the society, for them to be given an opportunity to participate, to learn, to raise their voice generally, and to access opportunity. Northern Nomadic Disabled Persons Organization is an organization of and for persons with disabilities in Northern Kenya. It brings about the circumstance, or it rather addresses the situation of people with disabilities in Northern Kenya. So what Nondo is envisaged to bring out is to bring out the understanding and addressing the circumstance of this super marginalized group within the marginalized setup. It was formed in 2010 with its secretariat or head office here in Nairobi for purpose of liaison and coordination, and the field offices in the counties of Northern Kenya.
This is a first NGO that deals with improving access to persons with disabilities. The biggest challenge is really to fight disability in the mind. Disability, unfortunately, is not physical disability as many people think. Disability is a condition of the mind.
Nondo tuko pamoja forever. Walemavu sisi tuungane, walemavu tusitengane, wakubwa kwa wadogo, sisi wote tushikane, kwa kweli twajimudu, na umoja ni nguvu. Walemavu sisi tuungane, walemavu tusitengane.
Our thematic focuses, number 1 is advocacy, and number 2 is empowerment. Under empowerment, we look at the 2 critical things: education and economic empowerment. And thirdly, we look at the issue of health and rehab.
So we have to change the way we think. We have to slowly create awareness, especially in Northern Kenya. We have to educate. Parents have to know that when a child has disability, then it is not the end of the world for this person. We need to provide access, to healthcare, access to education. As soon as that is done, as soon we are able to change people's perspectives, people's thinking towards persons with disability, our battle is complete.
Our boards are mixes of people with disability and people with no disability, but who have passion of supporting the cause of the weaker members in the society. Yeah, the founders of this organization are Mr. Hussein Hared Borle, Rukia Ahmed Sheikh, Mahat Sheikh, who now lives in the UK, Abdul Nasser Ali, and Fatuma Musa, and I.
The biggest thing that motivates these members, as I've seen, is the passion they have to serve not only the disabled in Northern Kenya, but also the other members of Northern Kenya.
My responsibility in the board is to provide policy direction, of course, with other board members for the implementation of our programs, strategic plans, basically to improve the welfare of persons with disabilities in Northern Kenya.
Nondo has adopted many strategies in its objective to achieve the desired advocacy levels.
We have a number of flagship events. One very important flagship event that we do every year is Desert Wheel Race.
Mimi leo napenda sana kupata national Isiolo, county ya Isiolo kupata number 1.
The essence of the Desert Wheel Race, the most important thing, is to raise funds to educate a child with disability in Northern Kenya.
The reason why we think that it's important to have this event is to try to make our contribution towards peaceful coexistence of the various communities living in Northern Kenya.
Our other flagship event, which is also very important, is we've introduced Nondo Cup 2013. We're also putting a team in a Division 1 under sponsorship of Sekafa. We have a committee of Sekafa. Aside sporting talents, other talents that people with disability possess, including instruments.
Utaleta tubala mimi wakilisha kutoka Isiolo hadi Bongo. Sirani ya sana inatatiza watu wengi, kiwa na hasira kuna jambo haliwezi. Wengi wamelusu hope maishani, wengi hata watu wa Garissa, watu wa Garissa.
Miaka ijayo mimi nitaangalia na nitaongea na wenzangu vile hata county government ya Isiolo inaweza kujihusisha katika kujitayarisha kwa hii michezo, ili tuweze kuleta watu kutoka kila kona, pengine hata ikuwe national event.
Kiao lazima tuwapatie, kama ni ile kusema representation kwa ile kazi yote concern imewapatia, tuko tayari kuhitimisha hiyo.
Even most of our health workers, very soon, we are going to train them on sign languages so that they will assist those with disability.
I'm committed to disability issues. We have a special office for people with disabilities under the governor's office. We have an advisor on youth, children, and persons with disabilities under the governor. I've won a presidential award recently, which I dedicate to the people with disabilities.
I think in our short time we had some remarkable strides in our advocacy. We are a voting member of World Disability Union that is headquartered in Turkey. We sit in the planning committee of Stand Chartered Marathon, and we've made about 10 to 15 in the last 2 years.
Nondo is also focusing on the formation of MCS caucus group for disabled members. We are now working with the county government of Garissa to introduce a disability bill
our Directorate of Children Welfare, Women Empowerment and Persons with Disabilities is headed by a lady. One of the first assignments I'm giving them is to draft a bill, a local bill that will go to our house relating to our distinctive circumstances on persons with disabilities.
We wrote to 3 governors, that is Mandera Governor, Garissa Governor, and Eastern, to ensure that persons with disabilities are included in the executive board. And we made very good progress, especially with Mandera County and Wajir County.
Our style of advocacy is never combative. We engage in persuasive advocacy. So we don't assume that they know and they deliberately discriminate, no. So we engage in very persuasive, tolerant advocacy. Being alive is a right, and everyone must enjoy equal right. And for I to enjoy equal right, you must understand my needs, and you must make my needs available to me, so that I don't see my disability.
Asante sana Nondo, Mola awajali, kwa kweli umetujali, walemavu maishani, kutoka mtaani mpaka mashinani, haswa kaskazini, pia